Well, the odd thing about it was I went to the University of Chicago because it was a great institution. I went there because it was far enough away from New York that I knew my parents wouldn't surprise me with a visit. But I mainly went there because Chicago was such an interesting political town. In the early 70s and the late 60s, they had this calamitous Democratic Convention. They had the last of the big city machines, Richard J. Daley. They had an independent black political movement that was beginning to well up. And I wanted to be a part of that and study that. And the University of Chicago at that time was really not focused on the contemporary. It was focused on, I always joke that no one wanted to talk about anything that happened after the year 1800. So in order to satisfy my interest in politics, I started writing. Writing for newspapers, stringing for newspaper, national publication, wanted a campus stringer, and I conned my way into a political column at a local newspaper called the Hyde Park Herald when I was 18. That really became a springboard for almost everything. It got me a job at the Chicago Tribune and set me up to become a political writer there after a short period of time, and that led to my career in politics. Look, I got a great education at the University of Chicago, and I always, like so many people of my age, I always said, gee, I wish I could do it over again. I would have gotten so much more out of it. But I was actually in a hurry to get on with my life and get on with my career. It just seems so, there's so many interesting things to write about. But you get a very classical education at the University of Chicago. You did then and you do now. And it does give you a foundation for whatever follows. The thing that I always was interested in was writing and writers and storytellers. My whole life, if there's a thread that runs through it, and I think my memoir reflects it, has been about telling stories. And when I was a reporter, that was my job. And I really think as a strategist for candidates, my job was to tell an authentic story about who they were, why they were doing what they were doing, and why it should matter to people. And those are skills that I developed early, and some of them I developed by reading, as a kid, and more newspapers than books, great columnists, and but some of that came from my experience at the university.